Hi, this is Mom Elsie. Catch my story on Green Pastures Foundation. Comment, like, and subscribe. Tell me how was my story and how it impact to you as a person. Hashtag work on yourself.
Welcome to Green Pastures Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Mr. Tab. Well, Ladziba, Green Pastures Foundation is all about exclusivity, telling the tale of persons with disabilities and beyond. Mamuka, arsipelete, retechu kiena, me Elsie, Nimand Lomo. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing, ma?
Good, and you?
We are well. Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure.
In time.
That's my second name.
Punctual, ne? I think you got here 1 hour before the actual interview.
Yes.
Okay.
As a person who's working with other person, I always want to be an example.
Yes. Yo, thank you so much for honoring our invitation. But without wasting of any time, let's just jump straight into it. Mama, can I ask you a question? How was your You know, what was on your mind? What did you think of today?
As always, when I wake up, I'm just telling myself that I'm going to make it different. Even if it's a different to one person, but my aim and my vision all the time is I need to make it different to the next person that I meet.
Yeah.
Furthermore, people with disability.
Okay.
So that's my first thing. I pray when I leave the house. I ask for guidance, and I ask God that whatever happens in the road, let me make it different to other person.
Okay. So this means that you know your strength, basically.
Exactly.
What are your top 3, like your strong points? State 3, like what's working that stands and that defines Mama Elsie.
My strength, it's me helping people. No matter what, I can be at my lowest, but you won't see that I am at my lowest because I want other people to know that there's a person out there to help. My second one will be developing people to skills, which is I'm a crafter. And what I know that if you have a craft as a woman, if you have developed yourself in a situation to upskill yourself, anything is possible.
Okay.
The third one, I like to engage with youth. I've been there, done that, so I don't say as adults we know the best, but what I know is I've been taught by a younger person. 2000. The engagement with a 2000 made me realize that there's life that we don't know, and my strong point is I like to engage with young people. Right.
We'll dive in depth regarding that, and maybe which are your weaknesses. You know, I think it's always best if someone aids ever and understand as to what's strength and weaknesses. And I believe you also know and understand your weaknesses.
My weakness is getting irritable quickly.
Yeah.
Especially when you've been told something and you can see that thing will like put you in jeopardy, you persevere of doing that. I get irritable very quickly.
Is it?
And the bad part of it, my other weakness is when there is conflict. I just move myself that and put me in a cage.
Mm.
I hate conflicts.
Yeah.
I so hate conflicts because I get sick. So I just distance myself.
Right.
I'll just mute on you and you will wonder is it right or wrong, but I'll just mute on you. That's a weakness that I have. But
Sure.
I'm gonna tell you at a later stage, but no, I did that because of this and that. Yeah.
Okay. And the last one? If you have any? You've got only 2 weaknesses. Amazing. Well, Ma'am Elsie, where you are right now, you were born in Free State.
Yes.
How was growing up Free State?
Growing up Free State, I was growing up Kofiesburg, a place called Kofiesburg. It's a stone away from Lesotho, on the benches of the Caledon River, practically like literally on the Caledon River. If you know the Caledon River, Elsie is just a kid that grown up there. I was raised by my grandparents and my aunts. I never knew my mom. But I knew my mom on a later stage, which I will engage that. But I grew up as each and every normal kid.
Yeah.
And when I reached grade 1, standard 1, I'm giving away my age, that was standard 1, I was moved to Joburg.
Okay.
To my other aunt. Still didn't know my mother. Growing up, coming to Joburg, I didn't know any African language. I only knew Afrikaans and English. And coming this side, I didn't go to any colored community. I was right in the middle of Bakersdale.
Yeah.
But the amazing part of it is when you're a child, you adapt. And the children that was around me was so helpful, actually. And Barata Elsie Owali Guzman, they were calling me Granny Wali Guzman.
Okay.
And for my aunt, it wasn't sitting well with her. But I was telling her, but no, within the place, so they need to define which one they want to play with.
Right.
So playing with other children, that's how I learned African languages. Coming to Joburg, it was difficult. My upbringing was difficult because of why I'm saying it was difficult. We were not a poor family, but it was difficult because of I was supposed to get out of the township, go right into Tukumsrus. Just imagine if you know Bakersdale and Tukumsrus, it's far.
Yes.
And there was no transportation for me from Bakersdale to Tukumsrus. I had to walk from Bakersdale right to the R59, get the bus taking me from school to school and back.
Right.
And from there, I need to walk back into Bakersdale. So it was kind of difficult. It was extremely difficult to the extent that when I went to standard 1, as I was saying, I was wearing a different uniform than the others because of my aunt couldn't afford it. But now,
how did that you were a bit different towards Banobang in terms of the uniform?
It was not nice, but
how did you feel?
It was bad. It lowered your esteem. Teachers always telling you need to have your uniform and but at a very young age, I was this person that will sit an adult down and say, here's my situation. I remember because the uniform, it was similar, but theirs were blue at the bottom and gray on top. So mine was blue on top and gray at the bottom. It was vice versa, sorry. So being pitched on like, you're not this way, you don't want to do this. And I realized that, no man, let me change this. The following day I had a jean, a skirt, but it's blue, obviously. Yeah. And I went with it at school. Now, I was worse, and like, you're wearing uniform, now you're coming with this, what's wrong with you? And I had to sit down that in colored school there are specific teachers. Your job is to look after this and that and that. I had to sit that teacher down and say, I have a problem. I'm from a free state. I'm sitting with my aunt. I don't know my mother. It's difficult at home. But the most important thing, they want me to be at school, and I want to be at school.
What are the challenges that you experienced through your growth on Tsohola as a child?
Okay, without the schooling and moving from one place to another, that's not familiar with myself, was the fact that it was challenging to be a child actually, because of here I have a challenge of uniform, but I had a greater challenge that I was not the same as other people, other children at school.
You were not the same.
Yes, I was not the same in a way that you remember that in colored schools when it's January you start with athletics and all those things, and the whole school needs to be part of it. And from there I realized that when I was running, I was running differently. I was like almost hopping than just running, and teachers noticed that, and with myself noticed that. Okay, and even with the children, like when I'm walking, because I had a flat. Now that I know what it was a drop foot. I wasn't walking as other children walking and making fun of me at the end of the day. But it was yes challenging, because you have that environment that you have and come back home, whereby you are with this family. Yes, it's family, it's my aunt, but you can't speak out or say this happened at school, this was this. And because I knew by then that I have a mother, but I don't know my mother. You understand what I'm saying? I have a mother, but I don't know my mother. And as a child, you don't want to burden other people with your problems. So I went through my childhood knowing that I have a problem, but I was almost like blocking out everything just for me to proceed and go to school. Because now I fixed what was happening to me of the uniform.
Yeah.
Because after that, no one said anything about it. Now I have a problem that I don't know why I'm walking differently, why I'm always falling when I walk.
Were you teased?
A lot.
How did you feel about it?
It's school. It was painful. Most of the time you will cry, but you'll just wipe your eyes because you need to be in class. You need to be taught.
Did it demoralize you one way or the other in class?
Yeah, a lot. And to the extent that I didn't have much friends. I was almost a loner. If I say alone, I was always maybe alone by myself at school. You understand what I'm saying? So, that's the situation, like growing up, having to know that, okay, this is my situation. Am I going forward? Or what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Hence I say I learned at a very young age to stand up for myself. A very young age to stand up for myself.
So you notified us that you did not grow with your mother, right? Being present, but you knew that your mother is somewhere out there. How did it affect you? As as kids, right? When we're kids, I'm going to tell my mommy, I'm going to tell my mommy. When you had to go say, I'm going to tell my mommy, and you know that there's no mommy to go tell, how did it affect you? Or how did it affect your upbringing? And what is it that you're currently doing now as a parent, or what you did now, so that what you experienced, it won't affect your children in the near future?
Okay, with me knowing that I have a mother, but I was raised by my grandmother and my aunt. Yes, it was difficult. The only difficult part was the fact that only one person was working. But my grandmother, my aunt were super parents to me. But I knew that I had a parent. Okay. being a parent, knowing that what was happening to me while I was a kid and I'm a mother, it was different, much different, because I'm that parent actually that they call the helicopter parent.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say about the helicopter parent, I always wanted to know where my children are. I always wanted to give them the best of what I couldn't give them. I always wanted to know what was happening at school. How can we fix that? How can we make your life easier if there's something that that's hindering you? So I was always a parent that if my daughters come from school, they sit down and we engage. As to the extent that I had a 2000, as you say, she's Unolutanda was 2004, and Dinezama 2000 were like difficult. My firstborn, she was a sweetheart, like she was the quietest child ever.
Okay.
Frustratingly, having a 2000, they have their own world, they live in, they have their own rules, they have everything. But for me as a parent to survive and say, I'm not gonna, you're gonna listen to me. That's parents, you're gonna listen to me. I was a teenager as you. Then I had a child that said, let's sit down and engage. Tell me, in your world, what are you thinking? What do you want actually? Because I'm telling you what I was doing as a teenager and you are not doing what I was doing as a teenager. So engaging with Unolutando was an eye-opener to say they have different challenges than us. They have different challenges than us as we were teenagers. Right. They have different mindsets. They are living in their own world. Meaning that they were looking at, there's a time where she was saying to me, Mom, you guys were stereotyped.
Right.
We are the modern people. We want things to go the way we see it, the way it goes now in the world. What you were going through when you were a child is not what I'm going through as a child.
Sure.
So from that point of view, I understood that I can't oppose my rules, my everything on her not understanding in what world is she. But being a parent, you know that we want to support, we want everything for our children, we want to be there all the time. So when engaging with a 2000 is when you will understand that I'm imposing how I grew up on this child, and it's not what they are thinking.
Right.
Because we know that there's criminality, there's this in the world, there's this and that in the world, and you want them to shift away from that. You want them at a safe space, let me say that, at a safe space at all the time.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So with engaging Utando, may her soul rest in peace, it was an eye-opener. It was an eye-opener for me, even saying that even in my work that I like to work with, it was easy actually to work with young adults and teenagers, because I had this person who opened my eyes to another world that I wasn't.
Because you said you love working with the youth, you know.
Yes.
Well, is it because of what you've experienced with your daughter?
Yes. Remember, in our communities, you have your children, but you have other children, especially in church or within the community, and the next child won't have parents or won't have guardians, and they need someone that they can speak to. Remember that when a child doesn't have a guardian, it's obvious that they're going to do what other children are doing, whether it's wrong or right.
Yeah.
So engaging with Utando and engaging with the youth, I practically take what she was teaching me and to sit down and know how to guide and how to speak with the teenagers and how to speak with the young adults.
Sure.
That's part of actually my work from how I was growing up, having my children, doing the work that I'm doing, and engaging with the youth in a platform where they understand.
Yeah.
Because if you have your own platform as a grown-up and they have their own platform, you won't get a solution if there are problems.
True.
So
Sure.
that's how I switch from being that poor girl that was at school, that was teased, that was
Mocked because of your disability.
because of disability, and by
Your
then
background.
I didn't even know that that's a disability. You understand? And the background that I was growing up. So moving from that, yes, I went through life difficulties. I found my mother, I think, when I was about 13, 14 years.
Sure.
But still, it was not that warmth that now I know my mother. It will be all honeymoons and cherry on top.
How do you feel about that when you start engaging with your mother? Did anything change?
Not at all. Not at all, Mr. Ted, because when my mother fetched me from where I were in Pakistan, coming to her where she was, I think within that year I was moved to another household that I didn't know, and that's now when I was here in Soweto. I was moved to Noordhasa, which is the colored community where I was supposed to school, and I was moved to another household, not being my family, not being anything, but her friends.
Sure.
And knowing the hardships that I was coming from, I think I have a positive mind.
Yeah.
I have a positive mind.
Was it a positive by then?
I will say so because, as I said to you, that in an early age, I knew how to maneuver for me to be in a better position in a very, very early age. So when I was in that household, mind you, I'm a girl, they are selling liquor. I don't know anyone there. I only know that this is who I won't tell the surname, and you were gonna stay with them to be nearer to school. Finish. Going to school, coming back, you need to do all the chores. They were not bad. I won't lie. I'll go back to that household or the two households many times until say I thank you. But the painful part was, you move me. You're a mother. You move me from family to take me to another family, and you disappear. And being a child, you can hear when people are talking. Her mother just dropped her. She's not coming anymore. She's not even bringing food or money for the child. I remember there was a time where I felt it was too much for me. It was on a Saturday. I was running around the block. When I ran around the block, I decided to, no man, let me catch a taxi and go back to Mufulo. Get in the taxi, I don't have money. The people they saw me running around the block thinking that I was practicing for something at school. I got on the freeway, I stopped the taxi and I got to the taxi. I was very small.
Yeah.
And I was sitting at the bench at the back of the driver, looking at the passengers. I don't have money, remember? So I had to make a plan that I need to get out of here to get home. Getting into the taxi, coming back to Mufulo, the taxi didn't go to where I was going, but it passed in, was this place, there was the shops, Ekaya, where the Ekaya cinemas was.
Okay.
Yes, people were getting off there. I got off, I ran like nobody's business. Just to the taxi driver not to ask me anything. Get to where my mother was nowhere to be found.
Sure.
She was in her marriage at that time. Okay, because they knew me, I spent the weekend and the Monday I just went back home.
Do you remember how old you were?
I think I was, when I reconciled with my mother, I was 12. I was around 13 by then. And seeing that things doesn't work out, I went back to that family. I completed my primary with that family. I went to high school. By then now, because it was already Christmas and going back to my mother. And I go back to school. In Northwester High School, I was moved to another family. The lady was working with my mother. You know, as a child, if you do chores, even if you don't want to do chores, it was how I loved to say, let me just do chores and not complain for me to survive this. High school, Northwester, completed, I think, standard 7. No, standard 8. I went back to my mother and we relocated to Vosloorus. When I relocated to Vosloorus, this when then I was with my mother.
Yeah.
I was my mother, and my schooling is because I was in a township, but I had to go to a colored community to go to school. And I went to standard 8, standard 9, standard 10. I was in Regenbach. It was still difficult, but now it's me, my mom is married, I have siblings, I'm the outsider there. Whatever is happening with my siblings or around the house, I was picked on.
Is it because of you were not part of the family when you growing up, or because of the different person that you were?
I'm the different person. Remember that my mom is in a marriage. I have siblings, and the father, it's not my father, it's my stepfather.
Yeah.
And there are women, as I grow up, why I think I shifted that. I learned that there are women that rather shield their marriage than shield the child that they came within the marriage.
Sure.
You understand? And it went on and on and on and on. And there was a time where I was just saying, Lord, can I just finish school?
Yeah.
Can I just finish school? I don't know what was I thinking when I was saying that, but I just had a positive mind. I just had a positive mind, and being positive, I think, made me who I am today.
All right, Mom Elsie,
Yes,
Granny, Niemand. Right,
wow.
am I correct?
Yeah. That's
right.
me.
Yes, that's you, Mom. So we've been, for a while. So I think it's about time we lighten up the room, Khanyani. And here at Green Pastures Foundation, we do have cards. We play games. So these are conversation starters. Whereby it's your task to go and check out Iwani,
Okay.
right? You read that question,
Okay.
and then you answer what's being written on the question.
Okay, let's
Are you
do
ready?
this.
All right, let's do this. Oh, I almost pulled it out. No, it's yours. There you go. Let's see.
Okay, under pressure, what do? Do you fight, run away, or freeze? And how do you want to be supported whenever you are stressed?
I never run away. I'm not a fighter. I freeze. The reason being, I have a mentality of rewinding and say, okay, this happened.
Yes.
And yeah, when I'm stressed, I feel like hug
Come here,
there's
give me a
a-
nice Okay, that's a hug for you. Yay!
Thank
Yes.
you. Yes, yeah, that's me, Debsa. And
put
people
another
need
card.
to know that hugs. It does work. It does work.
All right. Let's take one more card for you.
Let me take this side.
All right.
Which board game best describes your relationship or your marriage?
Chess.
Cheers.
Yes, chess.
I'd love to know why.
Reason being, chess is a mind game.
Okay.
It's a mind game, and it's a game played by so-called intelligence people. And before you say checkmate, 4 steps, you already see that this checkmate. What I'm saying that is within my marriage, okay, there was a lot of problems before deciding to deny the marriage or go out of the marriage. There was problems. So it's that 4 steps that you see before checkmate. Okay, and I saw this coming. I saw everything, the infidelity, the abuse, and everything. When Atebza and but I stood there. One was for the church. Hey, you don't want people like, you understand?
Yeah.
Second one was for my children.
Sure.
It was for my children because the way I raised them, they were raised in a warm home and where everything was painted perfect.
Sure.
You understand?
You didn't want them to experience what you experienced.
Yes. And when I say chess, and the checkmate was when I decided to just leave it, and I said checkmate. Now I'm done with this marriage, and I moved out.
How was your marriage? Was it just take me back to Khanyan, to your marriage?
My marriage, I met my husband at church. I was a church goer from I think there's the reason why I have the strength to deal with each and everything that I went through. It was perfect relationship, perfect everything, to the extent that I decided, or I was there for my mother-in-law, may her soul rest in peace, when she was sick. It was just perfect. And as you go on, I never dated people that had money, because I felt that it don't balance the equation. Me coming from this kind of background, I felt that we need to grow together. We need to uplift each other. That's how I was within my marriage, uplifting my husband, doing things together. You understand what I'm saying? But good.
Sure.
2005, I got married. Same 2005, I was declared disabled, person with disability.
Sure.
Same 2005, I went in and out of hospital and had an operation, spinal cord operation. I had the diagnosis was laminomeninceally, where the spine, there's something growing within the spine. It's not a tumor, it could either be a fat or a muscle, and it oozed through my spinal cord to the surface of the skin.
Sure.
So yes, I went in and out of hospital. He was very supportive.
Yeah.
He was extremely supportive. But as times goes on, things changed. It changed drastically, whereby it was bad.
Yeah.
Abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse.
When that took charge, how did you feel about that? Because this is the guy that you wanted to live the rest of your life with.
It was painful, Tips. Remember that, as I said, that my husband, yes, he was working, but he was so in the middleman. And when we got together, we worked ourselves up. We were not wealthy, but we had everything that we wanted. And I think the guy thought that he Mr. Money, we bought our first car, our second car, that was a big mistake. And but I don't regret, because at the end of the day I was doing everything for my children. And he decided to decide on whatever he was doing. Okay, I went on with my disability, still being positive. I studied, I worked, and I was pushing, because I was just telling myself, I'm not doing it for this person, but I do it for my children. And by the grace of God, my children were well behaved. Well behaved. Even in my struggle as their mother, Kukuletu matriculated, she went to tertiary, she was flown out of the country because she was an A student, she went to China, she came back, she was like a person who was wiping my tears. Unolutando, this side, she was not naughty, she was just a 2000, and she just needed guidance there and there, and she was my baby. She was my friend.
Absolutely,
but because of the toxicness of my marriage, I couldn't stand what was happening in my marriage. When a husband goes out, but ibonka madoda bayachita, yes, I do agree with that, but cheat so that your husband, or cheat so that your wife doesn't know about it. But if your wife knows about it and you don't stop up until there's a child born outside the marriage, then uyadelela. So it became bad. Here you need to know that I'm sitting there, I need to guide Abu Mama, and then me, I have to have this happy face when I get off the car and all that. I went through that even from Mngani until Mtala. And I think I know how to maneuver my mood to satisfy what the outside world wants about me. And just fast forward, Debsa, I decided 2019, I decided to leave this marriage. Reason being that it's not cowardness. It was not cowardness, but you would sit down and say, with me was either I kill you, I go to jail, and am I satisfied about this? No. Why? Because when I kill you, going to jail, what about my children? Okay, and then this church. And I just took a decision. Took a decision to say, do you know what, Nkulunkulu church. When I talk about church, I'm not talking about the building. I'm talking about the members of the church and the people that was looking up to me, and the people that were saying, Humadlomo, the children needs to go. Remember that within my church, I was so active with youth, with the children, with confirmation, everything, and with ideas coming up. No, but we need to do this for the children so that they can stay within the church. You understand? And now, in 2000 that you bringing up, she has her own ideas and she sees all those things inside, but outside she needs to be strong to not bring dent to the name. But shortly, Tebza, 2019, I decided to leave my marriage. Why? 2017, there was a woman that came into my house and said, I brought this kid, it's your husband's. And I knew that from 2014. Because she were continually calling me and telling me that I have a child with your husband. Because Elsie, I'm stubborn, I will just keep quiet and not answer you. Angtumanga girl to say she called from 2014. She was calling, she was SMSing, she was doing everything. That lady never heard a word from me.
Was she also a member of the church?
No, she was not a member of the church. But she was a member of the church long ago, and she left the church. I don't know what was happening. Because I only knew that time when she came into my house on the 9th of September. I can still remember it. There was the 9th of September. It was on a Saturday, a lovely Saturday, 2017. So I left my home. My daughter was already rebellious. Tanda was rebellious. She was this and this. Here you trying to fix marriage. Here you trying to mold this child, but because you know that her rebelliancy is because of what's going on. And I left my marriage 2019 and I never looked back.
So, Mama Elsie, there's something exciting. You kept on saying rest in peace to your daughter, right? Can you please elaborate, what actually happened?
Okay, Utando, as I said, that she became rebellious with this up and down marriage of mine and my husband, ex-husband, and then I moved to First Lewis and leaving the marriage, and I think Utando, when I'm looking back, our breakup with her father, she didn't take it well.
Oh, it broke her down.
Yeah, it broke her down. It broke her down. Like she was this vibey child, and she was ambassador of all this stuff that was being going on, but it broke her down to the extent that in 2021, January 21st, January 18th, she committed suicide, and she was with me. You can imagine it. I just left. This child is with me. It's holidays. She needs to go back to school 2021, and then she committed suicide. And that Monday, because it was a Monday, she was just there at home. Tanda was this person to go out, take her skateboard, because she was skating too. She was
very busy.
Yeah, she was busy. But that Monday, she was at home with me. And she was reading her WhatsApp messages, what her friends are saying, and for me it was, oh, thanks God, this child is at home. She's not someone in the street, and I'll laugh and I'll guide her. But no, because your friends are fighting for you, just make peace and tell them no, you love them both, and It went on like that, and later on the day, I think it was around about 6 o'clock, her sister fetched me. We were going somewhere, and we left her in the house. Coming back, it was dark, and Utando, we were looking for Utando, like we thought that she left, went to my mother, but what was why didn't she lock? And then after that, we were looking for in a house where everyone was looking. They didn't find Tanda. But when I went back to that same bedroom, Tanda was on the floor.
Ish.
It was so painful, Tabza, and looking back, like all the stress that was coming, all this pain that was coming, like my marriage is breaking down. Why this happened, and I lost her that way. And remember, that was around the COVID.
Sure.
The COVID
events,
I couldn't go to the hospital. It was the Monday, the Tuesday I went to the hospital, and I told them I want to see my child, but I couldn't see her. I was just seeing from a distance. So Wednesday night, 10 o'clock, I remember, and Telemokarano called me that your daughter is no more.
Sure.
It was so painful. Here, you have a disability, you always in pain. Yeah, like it was bad. But she left me with a lot of memories. She left me with a lot of memories. Sometimes when I look at the pictures and think about her, I'll just laugh. Because as an entrepreneur, sometimes she will tell me, those heads that you're making is like boring, let me draw you something a little bit nicer. And I look at it and I will make it. She will draw and I'll make it. So there are moments that that needs her attention at times in my life. You see, that's how I lost my daughter.
I'm sorry about your experience.
That's how I lost my daughter, but I had to gain strength because I never had a daughter to raise. So I had to gain strength. So yeah, that's my experience with my marriage and losing my daughter. Yes.
Sure.
I'm not yet divorced. I'm still in the process, and it's taking very long because we have a lot of assets. And at times I was telling to the lawyer that it's fine, let him keep everything, just give me a paper to sign. And they don't want to go that route. And yeah.
Sure. No, very, very sorry about your experience, but thank you for so much for sharing this emotional part, because we can see that it's are you trying sharp at all. Don't wanna have but sorry about your experience, man.
No, life goes on, as they say, but she will always be in my heart.
Sure.
She'll always be in my heart.
Sure.